understand, bringing them together, like Felix says, collaboration is the new capital. So you have everything you need, from the resources that are human to the resources that are financial. And then give yourself benchmarks saying, oh, every 5-10 years, we always assess where we are, assess what we have done, and continue to grow from there. Then we will create something that is truly long-term.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him. Yinka.
Thank you. So, a couple of years ago, I turned 40, and one of the things that hit me the most, and it wasn't voluntary, was that I suddenly realized that I lost the patience to explain myself to people any longer. And, you know, I realized there's no need. Like, I was who I was, and at this point, there's certain things I've not learned. I'm not saying you can't learn new things, but I've become me. I'm fully molded already. So, I mean, that's what it is. So what you see is what you get. And that replies all the way as well to my work and the things I'm trying to do. So I stopped apologizing to anybody, and as well myself. And if you take this too far, you will easily become arrogant, is what they're going to call you. But I sat down, I thought about it. Why did I suddenly have this urge, you know? It was because I realized that there was no time, right? I was 40, like I said, a few years ago. My dad passed at 90, so give or take, you can do the math yourself. I mean, let's not be too hopeful. I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of things 40 years from now. I'm probably just going to be sitting down and I'm like, oh, that's good. And if God says add another 10, I'm going to be 90 and we're gone. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to everybody here. So, I think one of the biggest problems we have is that we're deceiving young people too much, right? And when I come to places like this to speak, which I hardly do, I know that the things you want to hear is the solution. But most of the things we say, it's just going to fly, you know, across our heads, and we're going to show you how much we know. And you go home and you're not sure what exactly you got from the panel, you know. But we are not telling young people the truth about how to make wealth, about how to create the things you want to create, you know. And the bad thing about social media is the numbers, the count. Thank God they've been trying to remove it now. So when you post something, you want to see the numbers. So suddenly you're afraid to tell your own story because your own story, you know, they sell. You get, and your face is not that nice. And you don't have a Mercedes that you're going to pose in front of. You didn't go to Quillox or whatever and spend money and put your bill. So you're not good content, so to speak, in the sense of the content that they want to consume. So that's the thing that happens, and you stop telling your own stories. But why I started with the preamble of not giving a whatever is that I realized that sometimes you have to understand, you have to know what an outlier means. If you don't know what that word means, please go check it out. And once you find out that you are suddenly always urged to do certain things, and it does not go along with the way other people want to do it, and you seem to have this unending energy to do it, you are probably an outlier. And the only way for you to succeed is to go to your own corner. I heard when Chika was saying the question you asked him that, oh, bring him over, you know, can you join everybody? And he said, oh, some people will not exist in that kind of fold. I used to have a design guy who moved to London and was working with us, and Brian, you might know him, he's terrible with working with people. It's just going to be a big problem. So long and short, what I'm saying is this. Once you're highly motivated to do certain things, you need to remove yourself and go and start having your own plan. And then start, you know, working on that plan gradually. Whatever YouTube is doing, whatever Google is doing, whatever Disney is doing, is a how many years plan? If you hear people who went to the moon, do you realize that there's some galactic travel that takes 10, 20 years? It means that the person that's, if not 20 years, there's one like about 40 years or so. It means the people that set up that dream perhaps at 60, had died. And the organization is still working, and that's why they got to where they got to. So we need to stop lying to young people. We're doing that too much. And I'm also a young person as well, because in some quarters, some people are much older, and, you need to know that delayed gratification, just like Chuka was saying, is very necessary. And you're not in line with anybody, really. The competition is not with anybody, really. So forget about this nonsense, and you're trying to rack up the numbers, you're trying to rack up that. Sometimes you might have an idea, and you think it would not work, because they told you it will not work. But as a creative, you guys are here. One of the biggest problems with creative is hunger. It's a big problem. And if they don't, Chuka said, I keep quoting Chuka because honestly, if I had my way, I won't say anything. You have said most of what I wanted to say, so there's no point. But then I was here to speak, so let me do the job, So the point is, if you take hunger away from a creative, you begin to move. And the cultures that are doing Google and the rest, the mentality is different. The biggest movie in Nigeria is probably the wardrobe budget of some movies. So if I don't blame the guy that charged 5 million, to be honest, because you don't know how the things are happening. He probably hasn't paid the rent, and now you've got to pay rent. Otherwise, you cannot create anything. One of the most important things for a creative is a place to lay your head. You can never be creative if you are moving from one person's house to the other. So I want to bring it back to young people. You will not wake up and just blow. Look at what is happening in the music industry. Suddenly every album is doing 1 to 15, 1 to 15, and topping the charts for weeks. Now something is called render farm. I'll be streaming farm. Sorry, my design. And there's this young kid who's making music, and he feels like, if I don't sound like this guy, I will not make the music. So what happens to him? Look at the concert this December. Only 4 or 5 people are really going to have any concert whatsoever. Davido is going to have one. Okay, Ashake first. Thank you. Ashake first. Davido will have one. Wizkid will have one. Burna will have one. Somebody said Kiss Daniel. I asked somebody who actually puts concerts together, that why are you not adding Kiss Daniel? He said, Kiss Daniel is a bit difficult, that's your problem. But you see, after those ones, nobody will have a headline, anything. What happens to the more than 200 people or 300 people? If I ask you to start naming now, what happens? So everybody is concentrating on one side. So I just want to say that let's not go back and say, oh, these guys are coming to tell our stories. Even we are not serious as a people. Even we are not serious. Look at an Ashake when he came out. I wrote a review about him on my page, and I'm like, this guy had always been a fantastic artist forever. So you have to work. Then you hear people saying smart work. There's nothing like smart work. I'm sorry, that thing is BS. You've got to work. That's all you need to do. Are you smart? No, it is when you succeed. That's when we know whether you're smart. It's not before you say, I'm working smart 2 days a week, 3 days a week, I'm going. No, that's BS. So I think in ground up.
I also want Remy to.
Yeah, I will. So rounding up, let's forget about those guys from abroad. They're the big money guys. Within us, there's a lot of problems you can solve. Within Abuja here, a lot of things you can solve, and you have to start thinking about it.
Remy, I haven't been in Abuja for 2 years. So everything I want to know, basically, I want to figure out what to do in Abuja. You help make that decision. But beyond that, I've been able to build a community, and as a creator, as a creative, like you said before, communities are very in the long run, in terms of legacy.
Thank you. not deceiving ourselves. Nobody really talks about tourism in Nigeria. I'm talking about the government. So when Abuja City Tourist, which is my brand, began in 2018, it was a very, very intentional move. I was lucky to transition between different sectors. So I worked in the media to management consulting, and then I made an intentional move into hospitality in 2020. Yeah, so why did I do that? I noticed when I began Abuja City Tourist 2018, I was talking about places, but I think I understand what you mean on the back end of these places. So it's something to come and write about how a restaurant was good, bad, ugly, whatever, but do you really understand why the waiting staff treated you the way they treated you? No. So I decided my first move was to go and get a certification. So when I did that, I then restaurants and service apartments. Now I learned that how things work, why the waiting staff treat you the way they treat you, why the customer care personnel treat you the way they treat you in these environments. It was such an interesting what I really would put it out there and say that moving on from that, I was now able to tell better stories. I had an experience and someone's hands were like this. I was very confused. So I was looking at her for a bit and I was like, okay, what's happening? And she's like, are you not Abuja City Tourist? I said, yeah. She's like, hey, hug me now. So I hugged her immediately. We smiled, we laughed. She talked about how she follows the platform. When I went home, it was a redefining moment. I wanted to understand why someone that did not know me from anywhere would want to do that. And I realized it was the way in which I was telling stories. So when you go on the Abuja City Tourist platform, you feel like you already know me because I'm gisting with you like the neighbor next door. I'm gisting with you like the person you met on the bus. I'm gisting with you like someone that you already know. And that's how we're able to develop and build a community of people that not only have interest in going out, exploring places, but also felt like they were a part of something, felt like they understood all the aspects of hanging out,